This is a follow-up to a huge. This got a really sour reaction from the Ruby fans. Me and CJ were talking about Ruby accepting responsibility for initiating the lie. In the beginning of season 7, she initiates the lie, and if I'm trying to remember back, the only two people who showed any questioning concerning the lie, which was Yang, which is smart considering the stuff that happened between her and Raven. She's not big on the lying, and then it's carrying over from Volume 6 about learning the truth. So Yang was making sense where she's like, I don't want to lie to him. It's not right. And Ren has been surprisingly in Ironwood's corner a lot this season. Thank fucking God. God damn. Fucking stupid Nora scene. Um, but what I want to get across in this video so that the fandom fully understands is I get it. Like, the problem with the fandom at this point is the amount of replies that come back in, and this is the fault of text form. Like, for the people that didn't see the previous video and they just follow Twitter messages, the problem with messages is your actual feeling and everything doesn't get across well in messages. It's just friggin' words on paper. Um, figuring out how to say this properly. I get why Ruby had to leave. I've watched the fucking episode. So when people reply, she's going to fight the Grim because Mantle's exploding, I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. I get that. I watched the episode. In the video, I even said she's going off to be a huntress. I get that. I even get that, her and Oscar came together and they're like, we should tell the truth at the fucking same time, acknowledging that Ruby wants to tell the truth, but can't because she's gonna. At this point, I'm targeting Ruby. Because my feelings on the matter, if we're exploring my actual perspective on the matter, is Ruby started it, we can acknowledge that, and at this point, yes, we can acknowledge that she wants to tell the truth. But it's the emotion of the scene that I didn't like. Because when coming clean, when you've done something wrong, there's guilt. And there's two ways you can show this guilt on the scene. The guilt with Ruby, we've seen it in the episodes, it's just she never fucking comes clean. In previous episodes, we've seen her go, oh, I'm lying, oh, I'm lying. Like, she feels like shit, but she never actually goes, oh, you know what, this will be the moment to tell the truth. No, it builds up to this moment, and then she goes, I'm gonna tell the truth. They both say it at the same time, and then they start laughing and giggling, and Oscar's just like, I got it. You go giggle and be a huntsman. And I'm just like, in that one moment between Oscar and Ruby, there's zero fucking guilt from Ruby. She's brushed it off. It's not important. Saving Mantle's more important. Giggle, giggle, giggle. I'm off to do my shit. And then you cut to the scene with Oscar and Ironwood, where Ironwood and Oscar are sitting at the chair. And Oscar legit looks like shit. That's the guilt I wanted to see from Ruby, not Oscar. Because although Oscar and the group went along with it, and you can tell Oscar feels bad for going along with it, at this point, by the time everything's cleared up, we don't see Ruby actually feel bad. It's the conversation between her and Ironwood that should have happened. And if you're all going, well, Mantle's explaining, well, they could have done this before. That's the only point I'm trying to get across, is at any point during this season, they could have come clean. And this whole trust thing with Ironwood, no offense, it has been really stupid at its core. Because the only way you can actually defend the writing of being like, we can't trust Ironwood, is because of what happened with Leo. And I get that in regards to Oscar more than Ruby, but you know what? The bad thing that's currently happening in Ruby is, and this is why I will actually praise 4 and 5 for one thing. When the group separated, they shine better because individual character moments shined much brighter. Once the group gets back together, if there's a plot thing happening on, it's shared with the group. It's never shared with an individual. It's rarely shown with an individual unless someone leaves the group for a short time. For example, with Weiss. When Weiss left the group to go to Jacques' office, she gets the encounter with her mother. It's not shared with the group. She gets to evolve. And I think with the whole lying thing, it just got shared throughout the group. And certain things that should have developed many characters this season, mainly Weiss as a character. You know, she should have been the main friggin' focal point this season. And Weiss has had next to no development this season. Um, for example, one thing I want to clear up with Nora. It seems like they're going, oh, Ren and Nora, look at their relationship. They're on opposite sides, and I'm like, I don't personally care about their fucking relationship at this point. I've said multiple instances. I either wish Junior was dead by now, or they've been dropped off somewhere else. Like if Jean stayed in his in Argus with his sister and sister-in-law and nephew, and he can just be a huntsman there in Pierre's hometown. That would have suited Jean. Nora and Ren could have just stayed in Mistral at this point. I really like. There is no point for Junior to still be functioning with Team Ruby, other than the voice actors want the job. Like, I would have more respect. I'm being dead honest, and I'm sorry if this pisses people off, but I'll have a lot more respect for Miles Luna if he writes his character out of the show, and maybe like if he did, like if Jean just went back to Argus and live there and communications get back up, you know, they're able to communicate. Oh, he's doing his part there, they're doing their part on the main mission, and then everyone meets up back at Beacon. I think that's better because you can focus more on Team Ruby at that point. You can focus on the main characters. um I would just say, like, I know I'm fully aware. This is, I have to actually keep repeating that I'm fully aware of things so that people online just don't act like full retards as if I didn't watch the bloody show. I'm aware that Weiss is not in the room when Nora goes off her fucking brain. I get it. And I get, due to the fact that Ren's the only one that actually sides with Ironwood, this is a whole Renora bullshit going on. I think at that point in time, Weiss should have been the one to go off her brain. She should be going off her brain at Ironwood, at her father, and at Robin. The reason she goes off at all three of them, don't just side with Robin and be like, oh, she sided with the bloody LGBT fan. No. She goes off at all of them for not cooperating. That could have been Weiss's character this season, bringing the three leaders together. Instead, it's she was a mug. She's a what is she? She's a cross between a detective and a delivery girl. That's Weiss this season. She's her detective side is non-existent because it's whatever the plot requires. She comes her detective side makes no sense, as I said, with her oh, you know, I'll, you know, Jacques and Salem, and we'll go check Jacques, and I get, yeah, that whole thing with her mom, yeah, that is just shit with Weiss. The other thing that I wanted to come up on, because at first, in my original video, I was like, there's a hole in the wall. Well, maybe there's a bomb. Maybe there's this. Maybe there's that. I was saying what all these what ifs during the promo time. And then after the whole episode came out, people were like, "Oh, this is the hole in the wall. This is the reason that Robin needs to steal all the resources to fix the hole in the wall." And I actually got pissed at that because and hear me, please hear me out in this. If that was the intention, because the whole season I've been on Ironwood's side 100%. They've handled Robin really poorly and petty. Like I get, how she's based on Robin Hood. Robin Hill is based on Robin Hood. All you had to do was give this bitch a bow and have her be like a resistance type party that is working. You didn't have to go overboard with how much she resembles the merry huntresses, robbing from the rich. You didn't have to go into all that. And to prove it, just look at the main character. Like, look at Yang. How much does she actually take from Goldilocks and the Three Bears? Beyond her fucking hairstyle, nothing. She's just got gold hair, and that makes her Goldilocks. So it's like, you don't have to go overboard when you bring characters like that in. But with the hole in the wall, it's so simple. This is the easiest way to fix it, and it would have made the season a bit more interesting, as it actually would have made, like, there's a good and bad part to it. Hang on. It should have been in episode 1. The hole in the wall should have been in episode 1. It should have been something we saw once they landed in Atlas. I mean, I'm not going to go into the whole thing of them landing in Atlas was stupid. Like, legit, during a military blockade where you've closed off your borders, the military most likely would have shot you out of the sky if you did not respond to their summons. So the fact that they even landed was stupid in itself. But in Volume 1, if they just showed us that they landed near the wall and they're walking along these alleys and they see the giant hole in the wall with the troops, just guarding the wall. And then you have to establish what Robin is stealing from the military. Because at this present time, everyone's assuming it's dust. Because, they've taken over the dust mines, the military, and they're transporting dust to a floating fucking arena. It makes sense, it's dust. If you're gonna turn around and say in the one truck that Ruby was transporting with her crew, where it's got like 2 or 3, maybe 4 boxes in it, those are the resources we need to rebuild that giant friggin' wall. Get fucked. Really? I mean, how? This is like one of the stupidest plans, and with how big the wall is, the whole problem with the hole in the wall, if that is what Robin's goal is like to fix up that wall and shit, it comes across as even more. It makes Ironwood look stupid. It's like, I get you're taking resources and you're putting them towards Amity Arena, but dude, think. Just say you do that. The resources aren't going to build the wall. You're putting them towards Amity Arena. You launch the arena. It all goes good. You send out your message of bloody Salem and everything. There is going to be panic. You predicted that. The Grim attack, and you got a hole in your fucking wall into the city you should be protecting. Do you know how fucking retarded that is? Ironwood's plan looks stupid. Robin is not going about the right way to fixing the wall. So she's stupid. So 2 of the leaders are stupid. And then Jacques, the 3rd leader, is immensely stupid at this point. He went from being a brilliant manipulator and businessman to, oh, you caught me. Oh! And I'm just like, all 3 leaders of Atlas, they're not flawed. I get that when you build a character, and I fully support characters having pros and cons. But this is stupid. There's a difference between a flaw and stupidity. When you're in charge of protecting Atlas, and you're okay with a giant hole in the wall that's constantly letting Grim in the city, and you're like, oh yeah, but we have Penny. We have Penny. And I'm just like, it's going to have side effects later. Robin is... This was just me wanting to get some stuff across. I just wanted to point out that, I get what you're saying with Ruby wanting to go um with Mantle, because that's what's happening in the story. I'm just saying, me myself, I would have preferred if Ruby had to explain it to Ironwood, so we see the guilt that she has to go through doing it. It's a repercussion for lying in the first place. Because if you're not the one, it's like, imagine if you stole something from a shop and and you're like, oh, your parents find out and they're like, don't worry, hon, you don't have to go back to the shop and apologize to them for stealing it. I'll do it for you. It's like your parents apologizing on your behalf, but it doesn't necessarily, like, you may have apologized to your parent, but it doesn't necessarily mean you know, it's disrespectful. I can see right now from Ironwood's point of view, although Oscar came clean in his head, from Ironwood's perspective at this point, he can be like, is Oscar the one that came clean and he's just covering for his team? Or did they actually want to come clean together? Because who knows? They could still be lying. This could still be covering. This is doubt from different characters' perspective. From us, the viewer, it's easy for us, the viewer, to watch the series and go, we know what happened outside. We know what happened in that room. Even though Ruby's not in that room and Ironwood wasn't outside. We can see it all. But from the actual character's point of view, try doing that once in a while. Take yourself and put yourself in someone's point of view. So when Oscar's sitting across from you and he's going, oh, we want to apologize, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I get that you said we, but how can I trust you now? How do I know this isn't you covering for them? It's like, ask yourself friggin' questions. So, I get it. Going forward, the story is what the story is. Yeah, she's gonna go fight the friggin' Grimm. She acknowledges it, but she got off the hook. There's a hole in the wall for, I think, all the wrong reasons at this point. They could have easily just had a giant gate in the wall that they used to exit the friggin' city, and just have bloody what's hacked the gate and it opens, and then they're like, oh shit, but then you'll be questioning, why is Robin stealing shit? Make up a different reason. I just think this big hole that's apparently been there since episode 1 that we never saw till now. It was so easy to fix. You just had to stick it in the first episode. And yeah, just overall disappointed with Weiss. The last thing I'm going to leave this on, the last 2 minutes, I'm making this a 20-minute video, is I'm really confused at this point as to what Nora's friggin' backstory is. It was leaked that we're supposed to get Nora's backstory, and everyone's going, oh, she's probably a rich aristocrat person from friggin' Atlas, or maybe she's just someone that lives in Mantle, blah blah blah. But something I want to leave you with is, I met Kara and Elizabeth, who are essentially Weiss and Winter. Got a huge figure of Weiss from Volume 1 days, signed by Kara and everything. And when I met them, it was like two years ago. It was pre-Volume 6. And they let slide, oh, there's going to be a great Winter and Weiss scene coming up. We recorded it. I can't believe it. It's going to be amazing. And I got pissed after I watched after Volume 6 ended, I'm like, there is no Winter White scene. I was like, they friggin' lied to us. They overhyped the friggin' show, and they lied to us during a Q&A panel. Now, at the time, at this time, I actually started to thought, because Kruby tells us that they wrote Volume 7 after Volume 6. But so it's either Kara and Elizabeth were just lying when they told us, oh, there's a great Weiss and Winter scene in Volume 6, or they were already recording voice lines for Volume 7, in which case the script for Volume 7 existed before Volume 6. That's just something I want to bring up concerning the whole Nora thing with Nora's backstory. Is you get these leaks, like, you're gonna get Nora's backstory. Like, we got the ball, and it was nothing. Like, personally, I think the ball from Volume 2 was much better than the whole shit that happened in the Schnee Manor. Um, but if we do get Nora's backstory in Volume 7, I don't want it now. I'm like, please dedicate the next few episodes to an all-out battle. Don't let the battle be one episode. Space it out over 3 episodes. Show us different aspects of what's going on. Show us a full-out invasion. I want to see that. I don't give a shit where this little bitch came from. I want her dead at this point. I don't like Nora anymore. But that's it. That's all I wanted to clear up. Is